Bumps and bruises, scratches and scrapes, some of the ingredients that a good life makes. But sorrows become success. And as we aim for the top, we will pause, if we must, but we will never stop. Welcome to Simso Sessions. Hello and welcome to Simso Sessions, a safe space to share your stories. Tonight we are talking to Miss Jamaica Universe 2020, Miqueal-Symone Williams, who knows a not so beautiful side of pain and grief, having had to deal with the tragic loss of her mother, among other life hurdles. First, though, we're going to check in with one of our season 6 guests, Jodianne Pantry, who joins us now via Zoom. Catching up with her, Jodianne. Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Simone.
Absolutely and fantastic. We're going superlatives because things are just that good. I'm excited to catch up with you. Of course, I've been following and we've been in touch, but let's talk about that show, Girly Girly, and the feedback and the reaction after that show. Joe, let's talk about it.
I got mad support, let's put that out there. And I got to meet some women and men who have walked the same path that I've walked before. Some are still stuck, within their walls of confinement, while some are also starting over their start afresh. Love me, I love me journey. But I was nervous, Simone. I was very nervous about the entire thing. But
Wait,
at
no,
the end of the day,
let's talk about how nervous you were. Let's talk about the fact that a day before the show aired or 2 days, you're going to call me and tell me not to air it.
oh my gosh. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I know who I am and we all know who we are. And where I am concerned, it's never about, speaking down on anyone or making anyone feel as if they're less. But at the end of it all, we all lived a story. We went through something. And at the end of the day, it wasn't him or her or she who went through it for us. It was us who really felt what we felt, endured what we endured, and put up with what we put up with. And at the end of it all, if we were hurt, we were just hurt. And if it's the ant that hurt us, then we're going to speak about the ant. And I realized that I had to own my story. And thanks to you too, because you said some pretty good things that made me look within myself and beyond, the situation. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful.
Yeah. Was it a cathartic experience for you? I mean, we've spoken since, and you said to me that it was that discussion that made you realize you needed to go to therapy. And so you started therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. There were so many things that I thought I was over with, completely over with. And then I realized the triggers were so much. And I'm now growing past some of those triggers, I must say. But there are days when I still remember things or my mind send me back to remembering things. So that is why I continue to do the things that I enjoy doing much, things that I'm passionate about, philanthropist work, charity foundation, giving back, school tour, all island school tour. I do the things that makes me happy. And that is what has also been helping me to cope, to heal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I ask you about love or should I not ask you about love?
Oh, you can.
Okay. So what's happening? What's happening with love in your life?
Well, to be very frank about that, I have not taken that on as yet, but I love and I love a great love. And it's something that I'm absolutely looking forward to. Am I dating yet? No. Am I with anyone? No. I'm still enjoying the I love me journey, and taking my time. I don't want to make the same mistakes I ended up making, a few years ago. But is there someone I'm looking at? I'm not quite sure. Maybe, I don't know, but it's not a process I'm rushing, but I'm looking forward to love again. Absolutely.
Yeah. And where are you now in your healing, baby girl? What does that journey look like? No.
I am just loving life. I thought life was it for me when everything came tumbling down, crashing down. I thought that was it for me. But then I got to appreciate me, appreciate the errors, appreciate everything bad that I went through, even the good, but more so the bad, because the bad things are the things that are really helping me to strong up, grow some muscles, grow some heart. I used to feel like I regret, but I absolutely don't regret, because I'm loving the woman I'm looking at in the mirror every single day. When I wake up and I stand in front of the mirror, I'm like, girl, I'm super proud of you. You have quite some more way to go, but I'm super proud of who you have become, who you are becoming, and I'm expectant. I'm just bursting with joy, and I thank God for being here with me too on my journey. I feel him every day, every single day. I talk to him in prayer and everything like that, and it works for me. I'm feeling psychologically and mentally much more healthier, spiritually much more healthier, and that's a great thing.
Pantry, you make goosebumps for me. I feel so happy for you. I see the difference in you. You are joy. You are radiating joy, and more than anything, just looking like it and speaking it. I think it gives people watching tonight hope that if they are where you were or are where you are, that once you do the life work, you can come out on the other side a stronger person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there are so many women, and I'm not exaggerating. Many women reaches out to me through DM on Instagram. They say, Jody, I'm going through what you're going through. What do I do? Or they say, Jody, I just left. I just walk away. I have 3 kids. I have 4 kids. I have 2 kids. I have a child. That is harder for somebody to bear when they have that attachment. But what I do know, I do not tell people to just up and leave, because everybody's situation is really quite different.
Right.
But I do tell them to know what they need for them. Love them. Love you first, and then think about what you really need for you. Think about what God wants for you too, and that's how I can leave it and put it as best as I possibly can. But I don't encourage people to just up and leave from something like get up out of a marriage just like that. I knew what I was up against. I knew what I felt, and I knew how worse it would have gotten. And I decided to choose me.
Yes.
So it all boils down to choosing us.
Love that. On that note, we wrap this check-in. Thank you, my lovely. So good to talk to you today.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jody and Pantry there checking in with us for our Simso Sessions program this week. When we come back, we're talking with the beautiful Miqueal-Symone Williams about her life's journey and how she has managed to stay upright despite everything that could have knocked her over. We'll be right back in a bit. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. So at 20 years old, Miqueal-Symone Williams tragically lost her mom. And as if that wasn't enough for her to process, she had just started university, a career in modeling that would also test her mettle and even her self-esteem, which is crazy to me because look at her. Today she's at the place where she says she's worked on the most important relationship in her life, the one with herself, and it has made her so much more equipped to handle anything life throws her way. Good evening, good night. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me too, Simone.
Do you usually use Miqueal-Symone or do you just use Michael?
It varies. Different people in different groups call me different things. So my friends earlier in life, like in primary school and that kind of thing, call me Michael. In modeling, they also call me Michael. I guess it sounds, really cool.
It is a very cool. How did you get that name? Who named you?
My mother. Yeah, man.
Did she name you after Dad?
Yes.
Oh.
My father's name is Michael. It's always interesting, though, because my mother's name is not Simone. So, right. Yeah, man.
Well, that is just the best name you could possibly ever have. I mean, Michael is cool. Simone is like way better.
But together.
But I'm biased. But together, knockout name. You are made for stardom with a name like that. So you mentioned your mom. mentioned your dad. Tell me a little bit about growing up as Miqueal-Symone. Your parents weren't together,
No.
but you had a good upbringing.
Absolutely. Before we kind of defined what co-parenting is and started using that word in popular culture, I could say that my parents were really excellent co-parents. They did everything that they could, even though they weren't together romantically, to give me the experience of having both parents and growing up with them. So I do remember spending a lot of time with my father, but I did primarily live with my mother.
And tell me about that relationship, because she never played with you.
Not at all. Yeah, man.
Talk to me about growing up with her.
People used to call me my mother's handbag because I swear to you, as young as I can remember, I'm going everywhere with my mother. I mean, literally everywhere. In a board meeting, that's me. The ladies in the middle are talking, and I'm like, Mommy, can I have some juice? Like, so as early as I can remember, I really had a great relationship with my mother. I always wanted to go everywhere with her. I was always all up in her space. Yeah.
Yeah, but she never really let you out of her sight too tough.
Not
Like
at
you went
all.
to your first party when you were 17.
Yes. Oh my God, I love to tell this story. I went to my first party when I was 17. I couldn't go anywhere at all when I was younger than that. I mean, the only place I used to go was Miqueal-Symone. But at 17, I finally get to go to my first party. She's taking myself and my best friend. It's like it's a New Year's party. So she drops us off at around 10 o'clock, because we never know, so we're supposed to reach 11:30. This is my first party. I don't know the rules.
What do you
So
know?
we're there at 10 o'clock, and them said the party start 10. And my mother drops us off, and I realize she's shutting off the engine, stepping out of the car. And this lady steps into the party with us and says to everybody, thank God we came early, so not a lot of people saw this. But she's like, this is Miqueal-Symone, she's my daughter, and this is her best friend, and it's her first party, and I would like to speak with an adult. Oh. Shame kill me.
Shame a kill.
Shame kill me.
Did she stay?
No, she didn't stay.
Oh, my dad used to stay, so it could have been worse. Yeah, she came back for you at a
She did come back
decent time.
at around 2 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, you gosh.
Because I told her the party was ending 2, she came too sharp.
You got a great introduction.
It's true.
She could have stayed and waited until 12 and then told you to get your tea in the car. Okay, so initially she wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mother was one of those traditional parents who kind of wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. But I feel like she was, especially as I got older, really supportive of anything that I wanted to do. So she was one of those parents who are like, you know, you should pursue the things that you are genuinely interested in, because that's when you get the most out of life, instead of putting yourself in a box just because of what other people say.
Yeah, and even now, as you look to pursue 100,000 different things, Miqueal-Symone, as you look to marketing that you studied and you want to do a little bit of this and you want to do some of that, you just hear her saying, whatever it is that you love,
Absolutely.
I
you
will
can
be
do
proud.
It all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's a juncture you're at your life now. You studied marketing, but you have different interests.
Absolutely. I mean, I've done modeling before. I'm kind of still going back into it now, post-COVID. I've done Miss Universe Jamaica. I have so many other interests. Sometimes I sit and think, I wonder if I should pick up law for true. And, you know, I have interest in acting and that kind of thing. I mean, you just really never know. But I'm happy with who I am in terms of the fact that I really feel like it's possible,
Yeah.
no matter what I choose to do, no matter when I choose to do it.
And you say, no, sometimes what you used to push you is to just think of her and how proud she would be if she saw you doing what you were
Absolutely.
doing. So let's go back 5 years ago. You went through prep school, you went through high school, eventually you went to UA. When you started UA, you know, you're getting settled, you have your friends, your hours started to vary. Tell me about that adjustment before we tie it in.
Well, you know, I went to the Immaculate Conception High School for girls.
It's a big school.
So, I mean, coming from an all-girls school, I didn't have much of a, and I tell you, my first party at 17. So, you know, I never have like that kind of robust growing up, you know,
No
knowing
exposure. Yeah.
Right. So university was like my first time to really meet different people outside of just people at church or people at school. And I had a really great time. I want to tell you though, in my first year of university, I will be honest right now, my GPA was probably like 2 point something, because I wasn't going to class. I was just having fun with the friends outside, you know what I mean? And then after my first semester, I kind of realized that it is possible to get a balance of having fun, going to UA parties and what's it, not it, and also doing my work and focusing and attending courses.
You were concerned that you were going home too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I got into my second year of university, as I said, that kind of work-life balance became increasingly important to me. So I would pull a lot of all-nighters. I would also spend time with my friends. If I'm working during the day on schoolwork, I'd probably hang around my friends until maybe 8 to 10 p.m. and then find myself heading home. And it's interesting because the week of my mother's death, I think she died on a Tuesday, I was telling myself, you know, I need to go home earlier because this is foolishness. Like when I go home, I'm walking in the dark to get to my home. I can't be doing that. So I was telling myself I should be getting home earlier. And I remember the evening that my mother had died, actually, I was getting home kind of later than I would have intended to.
Hold that point. Hold that thought. We'll come back. We'll pick it up with Miqueal-Symone right after this. We are back with the lovely Miqueal-Symone Williams, talking to her about some of the things she's gone through in her life and how she still manages to excel at what she's doing. So you're taking us back to that fateful day on your way home from school, a little later than you had hoped.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, even now looking back at it, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. By the time I had gotten home, I don't know, I would say the circumstances around my mother's death were kind of quite violent. So she was murdered at her home around, I want to say, about 8 o'clock in the evening. And I had gotten home that evening about 45 minutes later than that. So it's a really hard experience. It's one of those experiences that really helps you, even if you even weren't doing it so properly before, to really sympathize with people who are going through things like that. Because there's so many things that's going through your mind. It's like, if I was there earlier, maybe I could have maybe the person would have said 2 people and said that's too much for me, or, you know what I mean? It was a really hard thing to go through. And I think coping with my mother's death and working through those emotions really, I would say, is one of the core experiences that built me to who I am today.
Yeah. Because you heard about it on your way home. You're kind of glad you've had to rely on many accounts.
Yeah.
And you say that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to deal with the first-hand anything.
I tell you.
Was a blessing in that regard. But this is a couple of days before your birthday?
After my birthday.
Or a couple of days
So
after,
my birthday is
after your
April
20th.
1st. Yeah, man. And my mother died on April 11th. So, I mean, you can imagine, I'm barely 20 years old, and then here I am having to cope with something like this.
So how does one do that?
That's an excellent question. I would tell you, anybody who's going through something like this, coping is so personal, and it's not something that's linear. I mean, my mother died 5 years ago, and sometimes I get up and I'll say, yeah, man, I can take on the world. Like, I'm an adult. I don't need parents. I can do this. And then sometimes I get up and I say, you know, I don't have a mother, and I just don't want to be here right now. Like, I want to stay in bed. So,
I get it.
yeah, it's quite a hard experience to work through, but I think giving yourself the grace of understanding your emotions and kind of allowing yourself to go through that flow instead of forcing yourself, oh, I need to recover by then, or I need to always put up a brave face. I can't talk to anybody because people expect me to be a certain kind of way.
So let's talk about that, because you generally process, you have to sit with the grief and you have to process it, and then you will talk. But there are many people who would say to you, Miqueal-Symone, you have to talk about it, you have to talk about it. And that point you made about grief being personal, I think, is such an important point to explore, because we all grieve differently. And for you, you said the grief came in waves. So sometimes you'd be okay, and another time you're being drowned by the grief. But just for people to understand that everybody has to cope with it in their own, there's no standard way.
Absolutely. It's nothing that you can tick off a list and say, okay, so today I have to make myself breakfast, and then tomorrow. It's a really, as you say, it's a really personal experience, and it's just, when you're going through grief, when you're coping with an immense loss like that, it's important that you listen to yourself and your own feelings. I mean, of course,
that's
important.
powerful.
Yeah, man. And it's important to reach out to other people and ask for help. But at the same time, you have to really listen to what you want to do. I mean, there's no sense in, for instance, forcing yourself to go out and tell everybody when you personally are not ready to speak about it. So I think that's one of the
Or to
things
go
I'm grateful
anywhere or
for.
do anything.
I tell you, because
Because-
I was a girl, actually after my mother died, there was a period in time where I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I didn't want to talk to anyone, and that was fine for me, you know. And I'm really appreciative of the friends and family that were around me at that time, because I don't think that they viewed it like you have to do something. They were more very supportive.
They gave you the space.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it, as if that weren't enough. So here you are, trying to cope through your mom's passing. A little bit after that, you got to take up muggling on your head. Stepping into this new world that, for all intents and purposes, is very exciting. You weren't ready for what you were going to meet.
No,
You were
I
not
don't think
prepared.
so.
You hadn't done the homework, or
You know what is a lot of times when you're jumping into something, you focus on all the positives.
yes.
Yeah, man.
Especially going through such a rough time, you're looking for something
I'm
now.
looking for something to be positive. Like, okay, this makes sense. This is everything, you know. So I went into modeling. I had the opportunity, to be signed internationally. And so I go to London, let's say a little less than a year after my mother's death is when I finally made it to London, which was a great experience in itself. I mean, I'm very grateful to have traveled. So it's, you know, there are two sides to that coin. But I think modeling was a really hard journey for me, especially in terms of body image. I mean, anyone who has actually done research, so not counting me, right, because I didn't do the research, but anyone who has actually done research on modeling would know that there really is a focus on what you look like. And when I say what you look like, I mean specifically your body, like how it looks, your size and your weight. And you'd be surprised that people who we as Jamaicans think are very slim, like you're a slim girl, man, you must do modeling. You probably need to be a little smaller than that. So modeling it was a hard thing for me to work through, because of course now I'm thinking of, at my size that would already be small, I'm thinking of having to lose weight and then worrying about my body constantly. Like when I look the way I look now, I'd be like, boy, I need to go start going on a diet, or I need to, you know what I mean? So it was very hard for me, and it's really unfortunate that I would have been processing the death of my mother on one hand and then also having to deal with these body image issues on the other hand.
Quite so. And we're going to delve into those a little more deeply. But I want to talk some more about the coping mechanisms that you used for your mom. You have a tool. I call it a tool, which is I call it the tomorrow tool, right? So no is not tomorrow.
No, it's
You've built this ability to be able to not dwell in today, and this kind of optimistic spirit. I don't know how you do it, that tomorrow will be better. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Well, I have a friend actually who gave me an excellent piece of advice. He said that life is not happening to you, it's coming from you. So when I think of not dwelling in now and focusing on tomorrow, it's in this way to say, I know that things are bad now, like you're processing the grief of your mother, but there will be a day when you feel like you've gotten to a place enough so that you can pursue something else. When I was modeling and I was going through all of the things I was going through, you know, I'm saying to myself, it's hard right now, but there will be a day when you feel like it's worth it. Or there will be a day when you feel like you'd like to take a different step, you know? So not focusing on the now is not to say that you shouldn't live in the present, but it's to say that if there's something that you want to change, tomorrow is that catalyst for you.
I love that, Miqueal-Symone. I love that. All right, we'll be right back with more with this amazing young lady on the other side of this break. All right, back with you, everybody. Can we talk a little bit about church? You used to go to church with your mom a lot.
Absolutely.
You haven't been able to go back much since she passed.
No.
I went once. Never really worked out. So
Never really work out at all.
what happened?
So growing up, I was always really heavily in the church because my mother was really heavily in the church. And I mean, any of us who have parents who are really involved in church know that they're dragging you along for the ride. So when I was younger, I might not have enjoyed it so much, but I mean, coming into like my early teens and late teens, I was really heavily involved in church with my mother. I mean, my mother was on the choir, she was Sunday school teacher, she was doing this, she was doing that, and I was right there with her. I mean, I was youth president, Sunday school teacher for the little tater
You were
tots.
into it.
I was into it. And I think after my mother died, I suppose because I had associated her and the church as one thing, I did go to church afterwards. I mean, a lot of my church brothers and sisters really wanted to see me. I mean, they were praying for me. They, really wanted to know if I was doing well. And I was like, it's been a while. I need to go back to church and let everybody see my face. And boy, it didn't work out so well for me, because as soon as I get there, it's as if you're seeing just visions of her, like the choir is singing, and I'm like, boy, my mother would have been right there. And then somebody else does something, and I'm like, boy, my mother would have been right there. It was a really hard experience.
You cried through the entire service.
I cried through the entire
You couldn't stay.
I could not stay. Yeah, man. I left about 45 minutes in. I had to tell my father, come get me, because this is
Rough.
yeah.
Yeah, stages.
Absolutely.
Time. Tomorrow. Modeling now. You say anytime you felt really good about yourself, you were told you had to.
Yeah.
Now, folks, I stood beside this young lady. She is super small. But even at this age and stage and place in your life, you've been told you need to be smaller.
Yeah.
Like you need to lose like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I said to you on the phone, like, Miqueal-Symone, all you have in the pictures is teeth.
I tell you, teeth and bones.
Teeth and bones. But you know yourself enough to know that you didn't feel good at a
Yeah.
particular weight. And so, a year and a half into it, you were like,
This is got to stop.
you walked away from it.
Yeah. And that was a really hard experience for me because, I mean, modeling really tested me mentally in terms of that. As you rightfully say, I mean, the way it is, I've always been very slender and very comfortable with my body. So I know how I want to look. And when I would lose the weight for the modeling, I wouldn't be so happy with where I am weight-wise. And it's almost as if when I was modeling, every time I look in the mirror and I say, oh, I'm getting used to it, man, I look nice, is when I know that I've actually gained weight.
Oh.
So it was just a really hard time for me because it's as if to be successful doing this the way that I'm told it has to be done, I have to not like myself.
You have to be depressed.
Yeah, which is just,
That's not nice.
yeah, 0 to 10.
Tell me about Paris.
So I would say that Paris for modeling is an especially unforgiving market. I mean, if they want you to be small in London, they want you to be smaller in Paris.
God.
And
Jeez.
yeah, it was really hard for me going through that period. I remember sometimes I would just kind of, I was really fed up. And it's not like I wanted to actually be the one to take my own life. But I was like, if I should die, perfect. Thank you, Jesus. I'm tired of this man. You know what I mean? So it's like I would tell people I had this thing that I would do. I would like cross the road in Paris. Thankfully, now that I think about it, there weren't that many, like, they're not driving so fast. So works out. But I would cross the road in Paris and just not look. And say, boy, if they can't lick me, It was a really, I would say, dark place in my life because you shouldn't have to feel like that. And I think after that time in Paris is when I really realized that if you are really feeling like you are at rock bottom, and it's because you are forcing yourself to fit into this space that you don't need to be in, or that is making you feel this way, it's okay to step back. And it was really hard for me to step back because, of course, modeling is very glamorous. And there's so many opportunities to be had. And all my friends and family were like, are you sure? Making you second-guess your decisions. But at the end of the day, you are the only one that's feeling this. So it was one of those points where I really had to stand up for myself. Mm-hmm. Even though nobody else was necessarily supporting me 100%, I really had to just say, well, it's enough that I want to not do this, which was another really great character building experience for myself.
But girlie, you've gone back into it.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Why have you decided that you're going to go back into it? There you go, love.
So interesting enough about modeling, it turns out too that sometimes, you're in a situation and you're struggling and you think, okay, I'm going to quit. And maybe it would do you some good to just talk to the people who are in the situation and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. So I felt at the time that there was no way that I could change this in terms of the fact that everyone wants me to be this small for the modeling world. And I spoke with my agents in New York one day. I said, you know, I'm experiencing this problem. It's making me really sad. And they were like, okay, just stay at the size you are then. And we'll just find jobs to work around who you are. That's fine.
It was that easy?
It was that easy. You know, sometimes in your head, things feel like a lot. So another really great character building experience for myself, just to kind of talk about things. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. The most you can hear is no, but at least you know where you stand in terms of, I knew that either way, if they say no, I'm not going to go back into it to have to lose the weight, because I know where that gets me mentally. So
you're in a better place now.
Absolutely.
With the gig. Okay, that's good. All right. Okay, Miqueal-Symone has spoken about her family and her friends and the support she needed to get through her mom's passing and the difficult times in her life. Of course, you guys know it's time for good vibes. Go ahead, Lori.
You are one of my bestest friends, and I think the most ironic part of it is that I don't think either of us expected it to blossom to the degree that it has, and I'm immeasurably grateful for that, because you are one of the kindest, gentlest, most loving, patient and accepting persons that I know. You have taught me so much, and you have given me so much love, and I don't think you understand just how much you mean to the persons whose lives you are in. You're the type of person that you walk into a room and everybody can't help but stare because of how beautiful you are, but they can't help but be around you after that because of how pure your soul is. You have so much ahead of you in life, and I'm so proud for how far you've gotten and how much you have left to go. You are just a shining star, and I love you all the way.
I just want to say how much I love and appreciate you. You've been always a kind and a gentle person. Trust me, Miqueal-Symone, when are you getting me my French toast? I wonder if people know that you do some of the best French toast. Michael, again, we want to say love, blessings, and we wish you all that's good, and we wish you all that the best that life has to offer in everything that you plan to do in your future endeavors. Again, we want to say love, love, and love again. Big up yourself, Miqueal-Symone, and know say you're looking out for this one from me. Boom!
So from the moment I met Miqueal-Symone Williams, I knew that she was special. Not only because she happened to go to the best high school for girls in Jamaica. I mean, she's an immaculate alum, so that Mac Girl magic is real. But Miqueal-Symone resonates as a very passionate, very caring, and very true person. From the very first conversation, I knew that she had some magic. And so, Miqueal, I want you to continue to shine your light wherever you go. Continue to impact people in a positive way, and just be you. You're such a joy, you're such a natural, and of course it's a good fit that somebody as intrinsically good as you are is an ambassador for the Office of the Children's Advocate. As Children's Advocate, it is my pleasure to work with you, and I look forward to our continued exchanges and wish you nothing but the best. You are fantastic. Bye.
I just want to remind you of how much I love you so much, and I miss you lots. I can't wait for you to touch down Florida for Window Road and enjoy life, your girl. And you know, you made the family proud. We're so proud of you, girl. You remember me tell you said that year, you know. You forget that year, be your year. So I just want to let you know how much you deserve it all. You're the prize. Remember, you're the prize. So yes, we're so proud of you, and I love you. I love you a lot. Okay, Miqueal-Symone, never forget me. Love you enough.
Miqueal-Symone, you're a package of strength, beauty, and brains all in one. You have touched my life in the most profound way humanly possible. Your ability to smile in the face of adversity and disappointment still amazes me. I am blessed to have met you and shared the love of a daughter I never had. Continue being the beautiful, strong soul you are. I love you. Auntie Maxine.
You know, I remember My brother brought home a little baby girl. You were only a few months old at the time. And Miqueal-Symone, my Simone, I must tell you, you stole my heart from the very first look, the very first time I laid my eyes on you. Just look at us now, in 2023, with all that you have accomplished, with all that you have done. My only regret, my darling, is that your mommy is not here to see you. Mere words cannot express how proud I am of you, though. With all that you have done, I am so very proud of you. From that sweet little baby girl to the grown-up that you are now. But please always remember, please know that I love you, Auntie Donna loves you, Auntie Donna always will. Now and forever. Mwah.
Hey babe, this might come as a surprise to you, but I really want to tell you that I'm so proud of you for everything you've done in life, everything you've achieved so far. People didn't even know that half, like even for there for top about half of the things them gonna take up the whole session and them that beat me. So I can't afford that for right now, but I really want to tell you that I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy to have you in my life. Like the impact we have on me as a person, like you grow me, like you molded me to the man that I am today, and I will never stop thanking you for that. And really and truly, I just really love you. Like you're the best girl in the universe. Like come on, I will never stop loving you. Like I'm a lucky guy, you know. So I love you so much, babe. Take care.
Hey, Miqueal-Symone, let me tell you something. You know, like as a father growing up, you know, like we always wanted like a son first. You know, like a little mini-me, you know, like somebody for govern the thing after we're gone and stuff. But then again, we always say like, if we do get a girl, we want the nicest girl, and we want the cutest girl, and we want the best daughter. That is what we always say. Miqueal-Symone, you must understand, for some daughters, they are a daddy's nightmare. For me, for you, they're like a daddy's dream come true. That we know about. Miqueal-Symone, I love you so much. And I have cried so many tears of joy for you over the years. But don't make me stop crying them though. I love crying them tears. Send on.
Nice.
Daddy's girl. Wow.
Yeah.
That's your village, huh? Those are your peoples. And they got you no matter what. Take a break. Come back. We'll lead the program after this. So we're back with you on the show, heading to affirmations, but closing things out with Miqueal-Symone first. You say now your life, a big part of your life is service, which is why you're working with the Office of the Children's Advocate. And a lot of children who too have lost their parents, many of them tragically, and you have a chance to speak to them. What is that like for you? How does impacting their lives help you to make yours feel like it is worth living, walking in purpose?
I mean, as a 20-year-old, losing my mother, it was an immensely hard experience. I mean, as I tell you, it's one of the hardest experiences I've been through in my life. And I can just imagine how it is for a child losing their parents. And I mean, as we spoke about, I didn't actually see the vivid graphic details of my mother's death. By the time I had gotten home, she was at the hospital already. But there are children who their parents would have been murdered right in front of them, you know? And I think it's just so important to be able to support those children and children on a whole. There's so many things that children go through. I think as adults, sometimes we can make children's experiences seem very small.
Yes.
Because they don't necessarily have bills to pay or they don't have this and that to do. But the truth is, life is happening to them as well. Like
yes.
A lot of things are happening around them. And children deserve to feel supported and they deserve to be helped through the experiences that matter to them. I mean, you find that as adults, half of the way that we are, half of the things that we do, it's our inner child doing all of these things.
Let's believe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Childhood is an important part of your development process, and it matters to me to be able to help children work through the experiences that they have. I mean, as an ambassador for the Office of the Children's Advocate, I speak to children a lot. And one of the first things I always do in any session with children is to start a little journal with them.
Very important.
Yeah, man. So I just, hand out paper and say, okay, you can write anything at all, even if it's nothing that you feel like is a big traumatic experience, just something that matters to you, anything you want to say, anybody you want to say it to. And when we're all done, we'll just tear up the paper or burn it.
So that's something I wanted to talk through with you, because I find that's a good process for us too. Like if we write our stuff down, what's ailing you, what's bothering you, and then just burn it. It's a nice symbolic thing, but it can actually make you feel so much lighter.
Absolutely, because as you say, it's a really nice symbolic way to say, I'm letting go of this, or this is not in my physical space anymore. I find too that for adults and children, sometimes you want to keep a journal, but you're scared that somebody might be able to read it. This way you know that you have released it and no one else can pick it up and see it and hold it against you.
Yeah.
It's just your personal feelings.
Your friends and family often ask you how you give such good advice, and they're encouraging you to go do psychology. You say that starts with giving yourself good advice first and giving yourself grace. As you look forward to the rest of your life, I asked you what keeps you going or what keeps you grounded, and you said the promise of the future. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, as I tell you, I'm not the type of person to dwell in the sorrows of today. I always look towards a brighter tomorrow. So I'm just always excited about the possibilities of what I could be and who I can be, because I know that I will be behind myself. As I said, going through modeling in Paris and having to step back from all of that on my own practically, it really has helped me to be that person who can say, okay, I'm going to make this decision and I'm going to make it for myself, by myself. Because the truth is you won't always have support on the things that you want to do. But if you can have that support from yourself, I promise it won't matter so much what other people are thinking or saying about this. It's your life at the end of the day, and it's important that you feel fulfilled.
So that's the word you're leaving with us, is take care of you first.
Absolutely.
Love you first.
Absolutely.
And then you can look to tomorrow, because tomorrow will be better.
Tomorrow will be better.
Tomorrow will be better. Thank you so much for coming here today to help to give us these words today, so somebody's tomorrow can actually be better, having learned what they learned from you tonight. Appreciate you being here, Miqueal-Symone. And now we close things up with our affirmation, as is usual. Okay, so we know the line, don't worry about a thing, right? Because every little thing's gonna be all right. It's nice to sing. Gosh, it's so hard to practice, especially in the face of rough seas and storms that your ship can't seem to sail through. But if you batten down the hatches and you hunker down, even with the seasickness, you can ride out the storm. Just don't forget where your anchor belongs, and trust that with strength from your source, your sail may not always be smooth, but your success can be sure, because you are never alone on your journey. Your captain is always on board. Tonight we are affirming my life vest of hope will get me through life's vicious seas. That is our soul food and our show for this evening. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will be back here next week with another story of the power of the human spirit. Until then, every blessing, and please remember to count your blessings.